CLNV currently using our support range, but there are some things to talk about for the coming sessions. Let's go ahead and review now. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again on this Saturday night. This is ARCa coming at you with a CLNV technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. Okay, so we are looking at CLNV on the buy daily chart here, and we actually drew a support range on Thursday for us to use on Friday, right? So we actually, this is very important for me to express to you guys. So yes, we did use it. However, I need you to notice the this tiny detail here. We have now converted the 2-spot 272 into a form of resistance, okay? So that usually means that we're able to either find some resistance right at that 272 or potentially at the 2-spot 618, which could be the more likely area of resistance before a continuation to the downside, potentially finding our next support line right at the 1-spot 618 located at about 51 cents. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about or verify that or validate it in a sense, right? So let's go ahead and move on to our next chart now. All right, so this is the broadening ascending wedge that we've been looking at for quite some time now, and I just want you guys to know that this is still in play. I am looking at it in the 8-hour chart. Okay, so there's still a lot of room for us to continue making the corrective move to the upside before making some type of downside move. Okay, so I actually want to correct this right here. I meant 51 cents, but what I meant was 0511, meaning 5 cents. Okay, so it's just sometimes I get a little caught in that moment. So my apologies. Please know that it's 5 cents, but to be specific, 0511. Okay, realize that when I looked at these digits here. Another thing is that we can always make these digits a little bit bigger for those of you on the phone, so you can see it a little better, right? Okay, so yeah, just this is still in play, and the reason why I can say it's still in play is because particular to our statistical analysis or back test, the signal is still fired off. So let's go ahead and continue on with our validations here. Okay, so this was the area that we were talking about as well within the 3-day chart of this massive cup and handle. So the fact that we're using and trying to respect the top of the cup it's honestly because a lot of people are looking at it as well and are trying to keep that support in there. But please note that this candle structure is suggesting a slight continuation to the downside. But this is the 3-day chart, and we're still about 2 days, 16 hours away from closing it. So 2 days and 16 hours is an eternity. So literally anything can happen within that time. So my focus for you guys is actually more in the short to immediate short-term time frame. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here. So this is also the 3-day chart that I want you guys to know. This is a 3-day chart, the statistical analysis of it. Okay, so why I told you that the ascending broadening wedge is still in play is essentially because of this. If we go ahead and just make momentum a little larger, you can see that momentum is still suggesting an upside continuation, and we have corrected that downside pivot recently, so that's a very good thing. And the firing of the signal was contingent upon volatility, which is represented by BBWP. This is what you're looking at here. It was contingent upon the contraction phase of volatility alongside momentum pitch to the upside. We've gotten that, and it's still there. It's a little choppy, but it's still happening, and the back test actually came back with nice iterations. So out of a total 10 iterations throughout the entire trading history of the CLNV asset, particular to the 3-day time frame, this is actually a backtest that I performed by hand. We are able to see that 7 out of those 10 iterations were correctly guessed to the upside involving volatility versus momentum. And that gives us an average upside accuracy of about 70%. The average upside thrust based on those iterations is a massive 4,347 spot 10% over the span of about just over 84 days. Okay, this is proof of work. So you can actually see just how slow this is moving, and I assume is because the asset is a little pensive. It is in a sense uh, it's indecisive right now, right? So it looks it honestly the price action also resembles that. Okay, so it looks like it's waiting for some type of validation or something, right? So you guys know that I actually don't practice fundamental metrics, but it doesn't take too much to see that there is a pause here in the sentiment. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the last part of the analysis. But before I do so, that if we did propel to the upside upon some type of good news or some type of major catalyst towards the asset, then that move can actually statistically be right at about the $1.66 range. Which is confluent with plenty of other support and resistance targets previously used. Okay, so the move since the firing of the signal has already moved 120 spot 63% of that 4,000. So I mean the asset's still looking good. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at the divergence chart particular to the RSI. So divergence is the opposition of price action versus momentum, in this case represented by relative strength index. And please know that the purple line represents the RSI signal and the pink line represents a 14-day simple moving average, which is very standard to any RSI setup. So nothing special here because it is my indicator named ARC-RSI, right? But it's just it's standard. It's just I've added some extra metrics in there so that we can see or imply price action. Okay, so in this case, you can see that our three drives of hidden bearish divergence are still actually in play and suggesting a continuation to the downside per the RSI signal on the 12-hour. So this is something that we should keep in mind. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open up. A multi-pane here so that we can gauge a deeper edge for the coming session. All right, so let's go ahead and start off just like we always do on the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame. I'm going to go ahead and expand this view here of this diagram for the new viewers to take a gander at. This is these are the zones for the RSI as you can see them located right over here. Okay, so I will be speaking about these pretty often. All right, so the immediate short-term time frame analysis here, the 30-minute, is suggesting a continuation to the upside. It has moved above the 14-day moving average, and we have actually now rejected the bear strength percentile, entering into the bear weakness percentile. Okay, so a very good thing here. The only thing that I would have to worry about is that we're slightly over the deep areas of the bear weakness percentile, which is usually an area where we can face a type of pull right back into the prior zone, right? So it's slightly over that, so there is still the risk of actually failing this, similar to what happened here, and continuing on to the downside, right? So now the bi-hourly time frame is suggesting a slight upside. However, this upside can be a little stronger. I don't like that it's a little, more towards the neutral side of things, right? But something to notice here is that we are in that shallow area of the bear weakness percentile, which usually means that we can actually face a little bit of an upside based on its weak upside pivot, right? So now let's go ahead and move on to the 6-hour chart. So the 6-hour chart, very similar to the bi-hourly with that weak upside pivot. Okay, so now in this case, since we are laying in the shallow areas of the bull weakness percentile, we're likely to find some type of pull right back into the prior zone, thus engaging some type of sideways trading here, since the sentiment is actually the way it is, and this is implying as such. Okay, so now the daily time frame is actually something that we should take into regard because it is in accordance with our divergence chart, 12-hour divergence that we looked at earlier, right over here. You can actually, I'll just go ahead and bring it up in this pane here. The 12-hour is still suggesting that downside. You can see that the daily is also suggesting downside, and now it has moved away from the deep areas of the bull weakness percentile, suggesting a continuation to the downside. Let's just go ahead and move to the upper time frames and see what we have. Bi-daily still suggesting some downside, 3 days still suggesting some downside, but if you can actually take a look at the larger time frames now, 5-day, you can actually see that we're now continuing to the upside. Moving average is still moving gradual and healthy. Okay, so the upside continuation looks to be good. Sorry, guys, I'm pausing. I thought I smelled some burnt, some electricity or something, but no, I think we're good. Whoa, I definitely do smell something. All right, so let me go ahead and just finish this off real quick. So, yeah, guys, please, something smells terrible. All right, so yeah, we want to take into account that the 5-day and the weekly are suggesting that upside continuation. Okay, so this is likely telling me that we're gonna face some downside for the immediate short term, and likely to find some type of support between this range right over here at the 1.618 at about 5 cents. 5336 is it's in accordance of what the same level that I talked about in the first chart, the 0511. Right, so this is in line with that as well. So we're likely to find some type of support here, and it may actually. I'm not sure that it's going to move like impulsively down to this area here, but it's very likely that we come back within this range here, and it's all within the 5-cent range. 0571 at the 1.272 and 0536 at the 1.618. Okay, so before a bounce, right, and I expect to be trading this range for quite some time until we validate some other stuff. But please know that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment. Okay, I need you guys to do your own DD, and everything will be just fine. But I need to actually get out of this video and find out why I smell burning electricity, because, yeah, can't have the house on fire. All right, guys. So with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and a great rest of your weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.